Coming up next, we are delighted to have Mr. Belton Kwong, Solution Architect of Amazon Web Services, to share with us on the topic of tools for building your minimal viable product on AWS. Let's welcome Belton.
Hi everyone, my name is Belton. I'm a solutions architect here at Amazon Web Services. The topic today is tools for building your MVP on AWS. Building an MVP is something that almost all startups will do, yet it's an unusual process. Today we will talk about some of the tools and methodologies for building your MVP on AWS. Okay, let's get started. So first of all, what is an MVP? A minimal viable product or MVP is the first product that you build. This is the product that you use to find product market fit for your startup. Many startups then use their MVP to scale their business. Later, rewriting the parts is required. Reeve Hoffman, co-founder of LinkedIn, said, "If you aren't embarrassed by your first version of your product, you probably ship too late." Which means your initial version should be kept minimal, focusing on the smallest parts of functionalities that lead you to test with your users. Often, startups are pivoting and adding features, releasing it too late, and waiting too long to get the user feedbacks. This quote provides a very good guideline to when you should release your product. While your first customers are likely to be early adopters, MVP is not a customer-facing term. Your product needs to be working, and after all, they are using it to solve their important problems for them. The function of your product should be clear. You should be adding features in an incremental manner so that your users can get incremental benefits from your each release. It might take longer, but it is outweighed by your user getting increasing benefits over time. For example, from this diagram, you may start off with a skateboard, and then a bicycle, and then a motorcycle, and then automobile finally. But you don't want to start with just a wheel, the base platform. They are not useful at all, and they won't bring any values to your customers. After testing your working products, you will be getting to know and understand what your customers really like. It could be a car, could be a ship, could be a rocket. You may not know at the first place. So don't do that. Okay. So today we will cover four areas. The first is the development process. What kind of development process can be adopted for an MVP? Anti patterns, which means what we should be avoided. Uh, and then we discuss some architectures that could be used for your solution design. And finally, the core foundations such as security and data integrity you may want to cover up in all your releases. Okay, let's start with a development process. Um, I will introduce what a sprint is and also sprint planning and sprint meeting. Okay, building your MVP is an iterative approach. It's an iterative process, and having an accompanying development process will act as a forcing function to deliver incremental value. Iterations take the form of a sprint, and in each sprint, it will take about one theme or one single objective, aiming for delivering our usable release at the end of each sprint. So first, complete sprints are bursts of works preceded by planning and followed by with retrospective meeting, which is a review meeting. The sprint contains everything needed to deliver a feature. Second, your developers should be working without interruption. If you're if you're the CEO with an amazing new idea, your job is to keep quiet during each sprint. You will have more time to speak to your users or to the developers and get data from them and to validate your idea. You can change the direction at the beginning on the next sprint, but not before. And if you are a developer, your job is to deliver the work committed and push back everything else. Lastly, there's no fixed time on sprints, but usually the shorter the better. Um, Even 1 week sprints are great. Fast delivery is motivating and rewarding. Everything you do will seem important, but you need to prioritize what gets done in each sprint. You may want to take a look at the expected benefits of each feature and divide them by expected development time. Order them and work through the list. This is good, but we have two problems. You won't have the enough data to measure the benefits in a reliable way, and the benefits is too often defined by revenue, which is usually too early a metric for pre product market fit. So instead, you could look at the speed to implement and impact on your customers. Plotting them is fast and easy. As you can see in this diagram, the cutoff line for speed should be whether or not it fits in a sprint for a single developer. And another cutoff line for the impact is whether do you believe it will meaningfully change the metric you really care about. So let's look at these four quadrants quickly. Let's look at the right hand side, the fast build, and the bottom right. Bottom right quadrant is distracting. They are quick to implement, but they have a little value to your customers. You don't really need them. This will appear often in your planning sections. Please try not to be tempted. While the top right quadrant is your focus area. Um, it's obvious. You should only do works that lives in this quadrant. While for the top left corner is big but valuable features. So you want to deliver them, but you should only working on them after you break them down into smaller requirements, so that you can move these big features into your focus area. Okay, lastly, the bottom left corner, avoid them at all costs. They are undifferentiated features. Your user won't see it, they don't value it, and they don't really care. Too often, startups doing work that falls in this area. If this is not a core part of your product, then use an existing function to remove this undifferentiated heavy lifting. Okay, minimize task size. It is important for you to make your tasks minimal. Break them down into smaller micro tasks to incrementally give value. Remove the hard parts and less important elements. Micro tasks should be small enough that one engineer or developer can get the work done in less than one sprint. Smaller tasks are easier to prioritize. So reducing the scope of a task removes ambiguity and making it easier to deliver. Okay, so how is the stand-up meeting looks like in a sprint? It's actually a daily activity, and startup meetings are status update meetings that should be done daily, ideally standing up, and it should be the first thing in the morning. Everyone should be there, including the technical team, product team, marketing team, and business team. Often, tech is blocked by something that product, marketing, or business, and they can help resolve with clarifications and removing some kind of constraints or limitations. Only 1 minute max per person, which cover what they completed yesterday and what they will work on today and what they intended to do tomorrow. 3 things. Okay, and more importantly, what they are stuck on. That is the blockers they are having. Okay, try to keep your stand up within 15 minutes in total. So if you can quickly resolve any issues that come up, then you can do it. Otherwise, take the blockers and other topics offline. You're not going to solve your problems during your stand up meetings. Deploying features build momentum, and you can see how users respond to your works. Each sprint should end with a feature that is deployed so that you can get feedback from your users. AWS CoStar creates a continuous delivery toolchain in minutes, which is with a unified interface to manage your software development activities in one single place. Okay, next I'll explore some anti-patterns and just what you want to avoid. Okay, roadmap prioritization. In this graph, each orange dot represents a feature. The bigger dot, the bigger the dot, the longer time it will take to build. Too often, startups are building features needed too far from in the future. This doesn't work. You're moving so fast in different directions that the future you are planning for now is not proven to materialize. Future planned work is usually bigger, meaning a disproportionate amount of your efforts will take time, if ever, to return value. The biggest problem is no that many features are built to return values after you have uh, ran out of the money. This is important. If you run out of money, you cannot continue anymore. Okay. So you need to remove the undifferentiated works, postpone works that lead for the future, but not for now. Try to focus on delivering features that your users are asking for now. This will be faster to deliver and make it more likely you will find product market fit. Abstractions. When you know you are going to need eventually handling more than one type of the thing, when you're building your task or module, considering generalization, try to generalize your tasks or modules to make them useful, reusable, and extensible. Take for example, integrating payments systems. Building for one is easy, but integrating with any system, even those you're not aware of, is really hard. So try to uh, abstract your features and gain more flexibilities to quickly extend your features in the future. Building is fun, but maintaining is not. It might seem easy to build many features initially, but this approach does not scale very well. So you may probably want to prioritize what's to be built for your very first release. Test your ideas and then add features incrementally based on customer feedbacks. By building less, you will maintain less and deliver more to your users. Making use of service that to do the heavy lifting for you so that you don't need to provision or manage the infrastructure or resource yourself accelerates the speed of development and pay for the value you use by using AWS services while having built-in security and high availability. Okay, the third part is will be architectures. Um, I will show you some architecting solution design or techniques with AWS for your MVP, including microservices, containers, and serverless architecture. Okay, first of all, um, monoliths are okay. Starting with a monolith is often a right choice. It allows for fast development at the very early stage, as you don't need to design the process boundaries ahead of time. A designed monolith can be scaled horizontally and broken apart later when needed. Depending on the type of startup, you may you may never outgrow the scaling capacity of a well-designed monolith. Amazon Lightsail makes it easy to deploy the websites like a WordPress or Magento or any web application with pre-configured development stacks like a LAMP stack, Nginx, Node.js. Amazon Lightsail makes it easy for you to get your work online and quickly and simply. Okay, um, Elastic Beanstalk is an easy to use service for deploying and scaling web applications and services developed with Java, .NET, PHP, Node.js, Python, Ruby, and Golang, and also Docker on servers such as Apache and Nginx. You can upload your code, and Elastic Beanstalk automatically handles the deployment for you and handle the capacity provisioning, load balancing, auto scaling, and also application health monitoring. You can also access the underlying resources at any time, like your Amazon EC2 instances and also your RDS instances, which are your compute and database resources, respectively. Microservices. Microservices make it easy to build and scale large applications. Each service is tasked with doing one thing and doing it well. The service is designed for a specific use case. It has the most relevant data model and infrastructure to support it, making it easy to scale individual service independently. In a well-designed microservice architecture, if any microservice is not working, then other parts of your application should be still working. Serverless is an easy way to build your microservices. Um, uh, in this example architecture for an API on AWS, you can see how a microservice architecture is built with different AWS services, such as AWS Lambda and Amazon API Gateway. For example, a request could be routed from the Amazon API Gateway to AWS Lambda function. A Lambda is a serverless compute that lets you run your codes without provisioning and managing the servers. Each Lambda can be thought as a microservice. You won't need to deal with scaling, and you can just pay for the usage for the consumption, and there is no service for you to manage. You may access other AWS services and resources as well, as shown in this diagram. For example, Amazon Cognito for user identity and authentication, or object access at Amazon S3, or AWS Fargate for serverless container service. In terms of mobile, AWS also provide an Amplify framework. Amplify framework is a set of developer tools for building, testing, deploying, and hosting your entire application. In this example, you build a mobile application and web front end. The website is hosted on S3 as a static website with a cloud front or content delivery. AppSync presents a managed GraphQL endpoint to store and retrieve data easily from various data sources, such as Amazon Aurora, which is a highly available and scalable relational database. Of course, you can also integrate with AWS Lambda, AWS DynamoDB for NoSQL database, or Elasticsearch service as well. Amplify console can deploy static web page or single page application. It supports most popular frameworks, including React, Angular, Vue.js, and Ionic frameworks. AWS has multiple container services for working with Docker. If you're developing a monolith in Docker, Elastic Beanstalk provides a simple way for you to deploy and scale your application. Amazon Elastic Container Service or ECS and Amazon Elastic Kubernetes or EKS are managed container orchestration services for running your containers. AWS Fargate makes it possible to run your containers without having managed under any underlying EC2 instances. AWS Fargate will manage the compute resources for you so that you don't need to worry about that. And then Amazon Elastic Container Registry stores your containers so that they can be easily deployed. Lastly, AWS App Mesh is a service mesh. It provides application level networking to make it easy for your services to communicate with each other. Okay, the last part will be the core foundations. You may core foundations could be something that you may want to emphasize. This could be some features that you cannot compromise, starting from very first beginning, such as data security and data integrity. Okay, some decisions you will make now will stick around for a long time, or have outsized importance. These typically are decisions around security, data, and integration points. Invest your time upfront, as they are for different reasons. These decisions are hard to change. Security. Your customers expect that your application is secure, right? And the data they share with you is kept private. With AWS Cloud, you can be as secure as the most security sensitive organizations in the world by taking advantages of many security controls and services. With AWS, for example, AWS Identity and Access Management or IAM enables you to manage access uh, to AWS services and resources securely. You may also want to use multi-factor authentication or MFA for additional protection. AWS Secrets Manager to store your secrets, database credentials securely. You may use AWS Shield for DDoS protection, AWS CloudTrail for compliance and auditing, AWS Key Management Services or KMS to create and manage your key uh, and use them for encryption, decryption under your control. Okay, here comes the integration points. Early adopters will try your product, but they will not be able to fully use it. Understanding how it works under specific conditions or explain it uh, clearly to others without detailed documentation. So documentation is really important here. When your products expose an API, this is more important still. Open API is a specification that allows you to describe your API versions, resources, API verbs, inputs and outputs. You build the documentation first and then implement them. Even you don't expect external customers to integrate your API, it will be clear for your developers how to build them and what to expect from each method according to the API specification documentation here. Next, tutorials. Tutorials are useful ways to show people how to use your product, especially when it has new features. Okay. Next, videos. Videos are an engaging way to demonstrate your key features. Finally, quick starts. Quick starts can help get your first users up and running quickly so that they can try out your product very quickly. Doing all this will help to explain and scale the adoption of your product. So when you build your MVP, you may want to pay attention on these are possible integration points. You can do it all. Decisions about data models and data stores last longer than expected. The extra time you put into this will pay off. AWS has a wide range of purpose-built database options for you to choose from according to your data model and access patterns. So you can choose the best choice for your application. For example, use Amazon Aurora or Amazon RDS when you need a relational database. Use Amazon Elasticache for in-memory cache to reduce stress to your database. Use Amazon DynamoDB if you need a key value NoSQL database. Or you can adopt DocumentDB, which is compatible with MongoDB for document database, Neptune for graph database, TimeStream for time series, and Amazon Quantum Ledger database for an immutable data records or transactions. Well, pretty much I would like to share today. I look forward to hearing about how you build your MVP on AWS. Thank you.